So we first job has started the new concept and term called BIRC. In today's rapidly evolving job market, collaboration between industry and resources is crucial to preparing an organization for future challenges. The first job human capital presents an initiative titled called Bridging Industry and Resource for Cooperation that seeks to create synergies between business, industry, professionals, and resources. The goal is to foster mutual growth by enabling industries to adapt changes needs and optimize resources effectively. So once again, I welcome you all for this wonderful session. So I will just welcome our chief speaker, Mr. Balaji Madurai, senior manager level strategic people analytics, ex Hevel Package Enterprises, Standard Chartered Bank. Mr. Balaji Madurai is a seasoned HR analytics and business intelligence leader with over 20 years of experience in leveraging data-driven insights to enhance workforce planning, talent management, employee experience, and HR technology solution. Mr. Balaji's professional journey with diverse industries such as technology, banking, and BPO includes leadership roles at Ever Package, Enterprises, Standard Chartered GBS, Tech Mahindra, and other leading organizations, where he led initiatives including driving enterprises analytics, implementing DI tools, and supporting HR data-driven initiatives. Mr. Balaji has led practices and community on HR insights and analytics for his organization and had deployed session on data analytics, partnering with Deloitte for wider HR community. I welcome you, sir.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. So I once again I welcome you all. So I'm handing over my session. I mean my next introduction to my chief, Mr. CEO First Job Human Capital, Mr. Murali Kasinath, sir, to speak about few words about our BIRC program. Sir Murali, sir, you are muted, sir.
Thank you, Madan. Thank you for your brief introduction. And I am happy to hear your voice. Like it's look like AI voice. Very nice to hear from you. So adding to thank you, friends. Welcome you. I am welcoming you all to this wonderful session for bridging industries and resource for cooperation. Basically, this initiative, as Madan told, it was an initiative to strengthen the community, industrial community, to have a comprehensive development in the area of human resource, in the area of technology, and in the all other aspects, wherever there is a need from the forum, if they arise. So we are ready to address such needs through this forum. And it is going to be a not for, it's not a non-commercial program, and this is mutually, it is going to be like a platform where we are going to help each other, going to share our resource each other, like as as Madan told, Mr. Balaji have handled 2 lakhs manpower employees in his organization. So when having a discussion with him, I thought, oh, these resources have to be shared with our friends who are across India. We have a greater network through this organization. So basically, we all are friends. So let us share these resources with each other. So same way, there are some of my friends are also who are participating in this webinar, who is also a greatly resource in their specialized area. So we can also take them for the, as a resource person in the furthermore upcoming seminars. So this is an idea of this workshop. It is going to be every month. It is going to 1 or 2 workshop. It is going to be there. So please participate and enhance and strengthen your capability. And I welcoming you all. I am going to hand over the session to Mr. Madan. Welcome, Balaji.
Thank you, sir, for your short description about our BIRC. So, as next session will be our Mr. So, I'm just handing over the session to Mr. our Chief Speaker of.
Thank you, Madan. That's a good start, and thanks for the brief introduction about me. I don't have to repeat to this audience here. I'm glad to see all of you on a Saturday evening, and really I appreciate your interest in learning and spending some time with us together. I'm sure that you will not regret for the sessions. You will have definitely some key takeaways, and you can really have some questions around which Madan will explain you at the end of the sessions. We'll have a Q&A sessions to talk about it. And I have briefly created slides so that we'll talk about, run through that with all of you and share my experiences and share the knowledge of what I have gained through my years of experience in analytics space, particularly into people analytics. Okay, very good evening. So let me share my screen. Hope everyone can see the screen.
Yes,
Great.
we can.
So, thank you. So the agenda for today's session is about empowering organization for HR analytics, right? So analytics for growth. So when we talk about HR analytics, what comes to our mind? Usually we think about what is that analytics to do with HR? It's all HR function is mostly to do with emotions and feelings and other stuff. Why are we even talking about analytics? So there's a need where we really wanted to do lots of things in analytics, but particularly with the HR community, to enhance or even to empower
can you, Balaji, can you increase your voice?
Okay,
the volume
sure.
have to increase it.
So can I talk a bit louder?
Yeah.
I think it's better, right?
Yeah, now it is better.
Okay, thanks, Murli. So what we're talking about here in HR analytics, how does it going to help the organization? We'll cover those in big details. So before that, I really wanted to understand the audience here. So we have designed some polls, and I really wanted to launch a poll and to see where you really belong. And so that I will customize, I tailor-made my content so that suits the audience for today's sessions. So we really want to understand, okay, I have given the list of roles, and with the crowd here, I really want to understand what is your role, exact role in terms of analytics expert or a leader or a partnering role, or you're part of a process lead, or you're part of reporting specialist. Okay, great. I see 25%, 35% HRBPs and HR leaders. That's great. Good. I'm also excited to see non-HR, other backgrounds, really keen, and it comes to around 25% now. That's good. Excellent. Anybody else haven't voted it? I think, yeah, it's a good mix of people that we have today. I'm very glad that we are addressing the right audiences. Thank you so much for your time. Let us move on. Okay. So today we briefly cover all these topics. So talking from the introduction to analytics, and we'll also cover a couple of topics on what does analytics means and why does it matter. And we'll also touch upon a bit on evolution of HR analytics so that we'll get more clarity on how the HR has transformed from the opinion-driven to data-driven. And there are key elements that you need to understand as a team to see, okay, what is the different areas of analytics and what is the types of analytics that we can do and what is it all about human capital architecture. And we can also talk about the strategy. So you are very interested. I know this crowd is really investing time in learning things, and you have taken this time, and this is the right forum for you to understand how do you really want to implement certain things into your organization. Go back, give it to your organization, see, okay, this is the learning and this is what we're able to get through. And today's session is more than a learning, I would say, is more of an awareness. Okay, some things will really open up your minds and brains to see, okay, how are we going to travel? Okay, all these things can be possible in HR. Why can't we implement? Why can't we even test it out in my organization? So those kind of thought process is what we are intended to do for today's sessions. Can future analytics, we'll talk about a bit on how is that AI transforming the world and how is HR analytics also not definitely going to be a part of the game. So this is what we're going to have for today's sessions. I'll try to cover as simple as possible, and I hope my any questions at the end of the sessions. And hope this will be definitely fruitful for you. So moving on to the next slides. Okay, before jumping in, I want to recall what we discussed, right? We spoke about what is that HR analytics is all about. HR analytics in terms, maybe you'll use a chat. I'm sure everybody has have access to the chat. And before I jump in, I want to really ask you a question. And as I promise you, this session is going to be interactive and intuitive as well. So, is analytics, is it an art or a science? Maybe you can respond in the chat. Is it an art or a science? Science, both. Science, okay. I see science, and somebody saying both. Okay, I could only see a few responses. Science, okay. Art, good to see one art coming up. I go with arts, okay. Excellent, excellent. Great. I think it's very participative crowd. Great, keep going. Good. I think I'm not going to conclude whether it's arts or science today, but I think some of you really quoted it well. It is a combination of both, right? And more and most importantly, what I see is the right mindset. Okay, I'm not given that as an option for you, but the right mindset is very, very important. Maybe you can use this in art to develop, because art basically depends on natural ability and science is depending on the tools and techniques that you use. So you can combine these two things and you should have the right mindset to do this. Then you will do wonders and you can really create lots of insights and you can transform the entire organization as well. Thanks for very participating. So it's now coming back to analytics and particularly HR analytics. It's a process of collecting, analyzing information. Okay. What will we collect? What will we analyze? It's mostly for making a decision. And that will achieve through a strategic objective of the organizations, right? And to have a sustainable and a competitive environment. That's all about, to put it in a nutshell. It's a combination of your analysis that will give a result for your decision making and that will yield an outcome for your strategic objective. So that's put it in a nutshell. Okay. And the people, you might be confused why people might talk about different terminologies. Okay, somebody will say HR analytics, somebody say people analytics, someone says human capital, somebody say talent, somebody say workforce. So many terms are available. Each term has got these different meanings associated, and it is somewhat is interchangeable. Trust me, these terms are interchangeable. I can also refer to the terms in different concepts, different context as well. And but to be on a broader objective, all these terms resonate with the same concept of a challenge. Okay, so now the interesting part is, why are we doing this HR analytics? Why does it really matter? So we really wanted to measure something, right? What we measure, what we cannot measure, that we cannot manage. I'm sure everyone will agree. If you're not able to measure something, we cannot manage it. So we should always start measuring things. And in HR, what is that we are really looking at measuring? Okay, once you measure and manage, this is really given by Peter Drucker. And if you see that, he really has a quote, wonderful insights around it. If you want to measure, you get managed. If you want to get managed, you will get executed. So that's the one and foremost important. Why do we really need to create an HR analytics? A return on investment. So if you do something around this and coming out of the traditional mindset or traditional game that we are playing on HR, right? We really wanted to become strategic partners, and the HR BPs around here will agree to me. Return of investments. So because people are becoming expensive, and we really need to know how to make use of those people and utilize them to the fullest potential and abilities. And the third thing is linkaging business to objectives and strategies. When you're talking about linkage businesses, It's more about, okay, what are we trying to do? So what policies, what principles, what analysis if I do, that will really get me a good understanding of the business and will it really meet the objectives of my organization. So this is clearly defined by dashboards and HR SAPs. So these are all very famous, popular statements that you keep hearing. And performance improvement, definitely. There's lots of statistics around it. People or the organization which uses analytics as a part of their portfolio and a part of the functions, they grew almost by 30% more sales per employee. So this is proven statistics. This is definitely a good benefits that we're talking about in HR analytics. So moving on to the next. So history is very important, right? We all talk about Alexander, Napoleon, Shivaji, everybody, right? So history is very important. So we also should understand the history of analytics. How did we come across? What is that we're able to gain through? So if you look at the early stages of analytics, it talks about, it's more of an instinct driven, right? Tribal, we call it as a tribal pre-industrial era. It's more of an instinct driven and it is also opinion driven. Okay, people make decisions not from the data, from what they feel. That's a gut feeling. We usually say gut feeling, right? What they feel, what is the intuition says, okay, this guy is performing, he's not performing, this will work out, this will not work out. So all those decisions are made through instinct or opinions. Then the later stage is all about industrial revolution. That's when we want to really do something around administrative HR. So administrative HR takes up all the administrative kind of jobs or operational elements, okay, gathering information, maybe payroll or tracking people in and out, timings, productivity, and all those things that comes into the play when it comes to administrative HR. So post-World War, okay, it also talks about operational HR and early metrics. We'll talk about what is that metrics all about in detail in the forthcoming slides. But when you talk about operational HR, it's when people want to really track something. They're more curious about, okay, what is the data throwing me an insights? What is the data throwing me an output? So those kind of information is what they're looking at. And coming back to the mid stage, this is where 1980s to 90s, this is where the evolution of HR started really playing a major role, and we started thinking more of a strategic level, and early analytics started. In 2000 onwards, you might keep hearing business intelligence tools, visual intelligence tools, and all those stuff, right? So right now, the popular things are Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, and all those stuff. Earlier, they started. One of the best tool that I started using for analysis is Excel. And that Excel still even runs today. We can do lots of analysis in Excel. We may not know, right? Excel is an ocean, people keep saying, but we have very limited knowledge to Excel. But still, Excel is wonderful to even to do statistical analysis, even today. Now, the modern state is more about, we're talking about, okay, big data and other stuff, right? So big data, okay, the volume is huge. You know, people have more data, around 2 lakh employees, 1 lakh employees data. We really need something where the Excel might stuck or Access might stuck, and at SharePoint we cannot throw information on the SharePoint. What we really wanted to do is, okay, let's build the big data, okay, like Hadoop or big data solutions, and also that is a start point for doing something around predictive analytics. So I'll talk about it. The predictive in detail. So what are we trying to really achieve there? The next comes is your beyond 2020s. Now we are in 25 and we just started 25 and you see really lots of good stuff happening in AI driven, a little scary though, but in analytics, it will be really helpful to see what kind of data driven that we can really do and real time analytics that's more possible in the modern era. Okay. Let me move on to the next slide. I'm sure most of us will relate to the slides. And with this crowd, I don't think I need to elaborate this much, but I'll quickly touch upon each of the points from 1 to 5, talking about what each thing refers to. Okay. So starting from, we can maybe talk it something like an hire to retire. Okay. Hire to retire process. Okay, let's start from recruitment. So what kind of analysis can be done in recruitment? Okay, when I say recruitment, it's also talking about, okay, hiring the right candidates and hiring the top applicants, who is the top of applicants for this, and how many positions are currently we are having on hold, what is the position, what is the filling rate, how much of hiring successful ratio, and I'm sure some of you might also resonate with this called the ghost hiring. You hire people, but they don't turn up. And no, we call it as no show, right? So lots of things around this recruitment, still that something's happening on those areas. And the next thing is about employee performance. This is another interesting area. The lots of analysis or a data-driven exercise are carried out with this, talking about the employee productivity, the effectiveness of the employee, or what are they really performing in their job. And HR definitely is an enabler to make them perform. But what if I tell you you have the data with you and you're able to make the decisions from the data? You will be blessed, right? You'll be gifted. That's where the direction that we're going through. And employee engagement. Right now, most of the companies really throwing lots of surveys around to talk about, okay, how well my employees are engaged. Okay. Let's create a survey around voice of employees. Let's have an employee survey. See, okay, how many employees are engaged, how many employees are disengaged, what is the compelling, what is the reason for them to leave, and why are people are disengaged. So if you really wanted to understand in detail, all this analysis will help you. Sorry. So the other interesting part is your workforce planning. So we all know the budgeting, costing, and headcount of the organization is very crucial, and we need to maintain the stability of the organization. And lots of theories around whether we should have a pyramid shape, we should have a diamond shape, and all that. That's going a bit deeper about the workforce planning. But what we're really touching upon is how is my workforce is being categorized, how is my workforce is being budgeted across the departments of organization. Okay. How does it align? Okay, if I have something, do you have any duplicate roles? Do you see any overlapping roles? You see, okay, the same guy doing the different things. Do we really need to an organization design? Okay, realign these people into multiple roles or a standard, or you have to really scale up the role or increase the scope. We can talk about anything under the sky on workforce planning. Learning and development, that's the perfect example of today's session as well. And focus on employee growth for foster skill development. Skill is something where, okay, it's learning, and it also relates to what is your industry is all about. If your industry is banking, if your industry is manufacturing, if your industry is customer service, if your industry is technology, what are the skills that you want your employees to go through? That will really estimate your, maybe you should start thinking, okay, am I spending the right direction of training and development for my team? What is the result that I'm able to get? What is the ROI I'm able to get out of this? So this is in a nutshell to talk about the different metrics or different areas that will get benefit when you start thinking on those lines. So now this is more in a little more detail about what is it analytics. Now we saw about HR analytics, we got to know a little bit about it. And right now we're thinking about, okay, what are the areas that I can champion? Okay, now you must be wondering, Balaji, let me know what kind of, you have been talking about analytics, right? So tell me what are the different types of analytics? What really do with that? So that's when if you look at anywhere and if you Google it or if you YouTube it, any of those, these are the major 4 types of analytics under the sky. Okay. Any analytics, even let it be a business analytics or HR analytics or customer analytics or marketing analytics, anything for that matter, all analytics will come under this broader umbrella. So first and foremost thing, I think I'll spend a little more time on the slides. So you need to really patiently listen to me, and there will be questions around it. Okay. What happened? So when you are doing analysis, the most important thing is about what happened. Let's say I'll talk about a little bit story around it later on, maybe to give a brief thing about controlling the overall picture. Okay. Let's see. Okay, descriptive analysis. The descriptive analysis, you don't need to memorize or remember these terms, but that is understand what happened. If you're doing an analysis, if you're doing an exercise where you see the summary of information, you see a wealth of information in format of a dashboard. Okay. Let me give an example. So your employees, you have good employees in your organizations, and you have a data in place where it talks about the productivity of the employees. Okay. When I say productivity, it correlates with your performance of the employees, right? Okay. You have certain group of employees are high performing. Okay. The productivity is always high, and certain group of employees are moderate. Okay, they are meeting the targets, they're not overachieving, and all those stuff. And certain employees are underperforming. Okay, so if you want to know this status, if you want to really know, okay, what is that, who is not performing, who is performing, who is underperforming, you need to really have a data in place. Once the data is available, where you see the list of employees against their productivity or its sales, or whatever you call it as according to your deliverables, you see the list against each of the employees and create a table around it, and you visualize it, and you generate reports on a regular basis. Okay, so you try to identify, okay, that becomes your dashboards. That's the start point of your dashboards. So when the dashboard is built, you will see, okay, these employees are always overperforming or they're achieving, and these performers are not, these employees are not performing. Okay, then that gives you a trigger of, okay, what is that happening? So this information is crucial for you to understand what happened or what is happening now. That's all about the descriptive. Why did it happen? Now you all will be very curious to know, okay, right, I got to know why these people are performing and why these many people are not performing. Okay, I really want to understand diagnostic. We all know diagnostic. We are very great fan of the healthcare centers, and we do lots of health check, right? Diagnosis. So we will do the diagnostic analysis, talking about what is the root cause of this. Okay, let's talk about two areas. So we'll focus on areas where we're talking about exceeding performance or over performance. Okay. So you see that, okay, these performers constantly involving themselves in some learning. Okay, let's say, for example, of a negotiation skill. Let's say, for example, of financial terms. Let's say they're putting their efforts in learning and maybe in the manufacturing industry and next to future of manufacturing industry. They're investing something on learning, and even they're trying to learn something on sales and marketing. They're trying to learn on finance. So you see these top performers always investing on learning, and you correlate and to understand, okay, these guys are really performing because something is happening behind the scene. And that learning is really helping them out to perform better. That's for top performer. You're diagnosing it and you're trying to connect the dots. And if you talk about the poor performance, you see these guys were doing a little bit okay from the beginning, but right now I see for last few months they are not performing well. And you see the various reasons, okay? What is that hypothesis, or what is that really not allowing them to do? Then you realize the night shifts are causing a little bit of problem. I'm giving a hypothetical scenario, okay? So night shifts are giving a little bit of problem for them. So once they are continuously doing night shift for more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or so, you feel that, okay, they are not really engaged, and maybe the metabolism or the lifestyle is not allowing them to do. So you're able to figure out, okay, something is causing an outcome. Okay. So this is a little bit of example of diagnostics. Why did it happen and what will happen? Okay, let's say it's about predictive analytics. So what you do now, you start putting yourselves into a data guy, an analyst person. You think about, okay, how do I really do predictive on this? Okay, let's say the performers are performing well, and I really need to fit them. Okay, if I invest in learning, I'll create my own learning systems, or I'll tie up with someone who does the learning. And if it really happens good and employees are trained, everyone, I definitely have a 10% growth in my finance, in my revenue. If you're able to predict it with the past data. So that becomes a predictive. On the other hand, if you see the bottom performers, those were actually they are not engaged well because of the night shift. You see, okay, you might lose these people. They might get a different opportunity outside. How do I predict that the future occurrence of this? That talks about little bit of predictive analytics. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, at least making sure I tell one common scenario, or everybody will be able to align and understand it. Then comes to prescriptive analytics. So this is basically based on the recommendations. Now you see, okay, I'll take these inputs for top performer. We'll go ahead and implement a learning system. Okay, let me source some learning partner and do that. And you see, okay, it is not yielding 10% as expected by prediction, but it is yielding 5%. Okay. Or maybe include more learning into it, or include different kind of curriculums into it. So that gives you better. So this perspective is more often stimulator. It gives an iterative exercise. You keep doing, and it improvised it. And same thing for the poor performance. You see, okay, shift is a problem. Okay, why can I rework on my shifts? Reissue my policy. I'll change a little bit on the policy and talk about people. Okay, you don't have to do every 1 month or 2 months. Probably you can do 1 week, and we can have rotation so that you have a lesser burden on the shifts. So that will give a different productivity. Is it really helping you? If it helps you to the level of expectation that you had, and you should be really happy about it, and you keep doing it. You keep reiterating with multiple scenarios. That's more of a prescriptive analytics we talk about. And so I'm not touching upon any statistical part here. All those things from the descriptive, we can still do with statistics, and even if we'll do something around AI and visual language and deep learning techniques, even with sentiment analysis, so all those things can be carried out with the advanced technologies. So the best part here, the descriptive to prescriptive, it starts from low complexity to high complexity. When you move from the ladder, from the descriptive to prescriptive, it all talks about high complexity. We can start with descriptive and slowly move into diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. That's a good start, I would say, for anybody who is interested to develop or into the organizing analytics space. Okay. Let's moving on to the next chapter is more about human capital analytics architecture. Okay, this is the interesting part where I really wanted you to think through, understand a little bit. I want to really understand from your perspective as well where do you currently stand. We'll talk about it in a minute. So this is a pyramid shift, right? Most of us will definitely be under reporting. And what are we currently doing? Operational record. Okay, we track headcounts, we track attrition, we track etc. We all do this. And talking about, okay, operational is what, and who are the audiences for this is mainly the HR staffs and the leaders. They are the audiences for it, right? And next comes to metrics and analytics. Okay. When it comes to metrics, I really want to talk about the metrics here a bit. Okay. Just give me a minute. Sorry about it. Okay. So let's talk about a bit about HR metrics and analytics. When I say metrics is about measuring. Okay. So you have to measure. It's not just about numbers. It's kind of a ratio. It's kind of a metric or a KPI that you define for yourself. Okay, let's say that we need to have. Let's say you say, okay, 100 people are living in the organization. Okay, this is attrition, for example. it will not just say 100 as a number. It means that it's just a number. When you want to convert that into metrics, what you are actually referring is 100 ratio to the overall headcount of the organization. Okay, let's say have 1,000 employees, 100 employees leaving. It's a 10%. It's a huge number. So that forms your metrics. When you're talking about that metrics, it means that it's measurable. So you can keep a track of that as a metric. Okay, this month is 10%, next month is 8%. So I think people are staying back. Next month 15%, somebody has left. So when you have to measure it, some metrics like something like a cost to hire, how much of cost that I'm incurring for every hire. Some metrics related to learning. What is the learning cost per employee? How much you're really investing in learning? Some metric something like your salary structure. What is my compensation ratio per employee? Are we on track? Is it compared to the benchmarking? So this is more of a practicing efficiency and effectiveness. And the third item on the list is about your workforce metrics analytics. It's a little broader. So we are not considering only regular employees and other people. It's also related to overall cost and budgeting. What is that headcounts in pipeline? What is the future roles that we're thinking about? And how do we really deploy those workforce as an overall picture? Okay, and bring in more insights and analytics. This is majorly required for HR leaders, executives. They're really wanting to know, okay, what are we doing on those areas? And business impact. This is the fourth bucket, which you're talking about strategic analytics. Okay. Now, there's a long way for people to go there because it's a culture of the organization as well as to really play a major role. How are we driving strategic decisions from the data? Let me give an example of a strategic, okay, and most of the organizations right now I see in MNCs companies, they talk about the diversity within inclusion. I will talk about inclusion, DEI. That's a common name right now. When you're talking about DEI, they are talking about, okay, what is a different nationality, ethnicity they're bringing, okay, how many people we are employing them with disabilities, how many people we are employing them with different gender ratios, and all those stuff comes into play. This becomes strategy of the organization when you're doing or moving towards analytics on those lens, which directly has an impact or which directly helps organization for strategic decisions that becomes your strategic analytics. The audience here is more into HR leaders and COEs of on the board of directors. So I'll pause here for a minute. Let me open up another poll. I'm very interested right now to see where did this current you all stand. Okay, where is your organization currently standing? Okay. So I'm going to launch this. Okay, where does your organization stand currently? So are you still doing reporting, or you feel okay? It's in HR metrics and analytics. Think before answer. If you started doing workforce metrics and you were doing strategic analytics. Wait. Yeah, strategic is 26%. It's a huge number. Thanks for doing it. And you are definitely, if you calculate the percentile wise, you are definitely top among the organizations who's actually involving strategic decisions. But majority, as rightly you're able to see the results as well, is coming to 36% on reporting and 21% on metrics, 17 on workforce and 24 strategy. Okay. So I see this real need for people to do or upskill or upscale the analytics area into your organization. Great, that's a great insight. I'm happy that you're sharing with me. Thank you. Let me end the poll. Okay, I think that gives you a fair idea about what are we talking about architecture, right? No. Okay, now you're already interested in doing analytics, right? And you wanted to do something around it. What is that? I'm going to give you some tips about how do you really want to do that in your organization. And what is the basic? I'm not going to talk about, okay, do this kind of analysis. This session is, as I mentioned earlier, it's more of awareness. I'll talk about tips on how do we implement that. It's implemented right. Okay. Before getting in there, I really wanted to, I know how many people are still active and listening to me. I want a quick check. I'm going to tell you numbers and I want you to type that number in the chat. Hope everyone is geared up for that. I'm going to tell you some numbers. You're going to type that number in the chat. Okay. Let me tell you that number. 2 zeros, 2 fours. I repeat the number again, 2 zeros, 2 fours. Interesting, right? That's really interesting. See lots of different understanding of what I said. Somebody is giving 2024 numerical, somebody is giving 0044, somebody giving 2044. Exactly. Good. Very participating crowd. I'm happy about it. Exactly. So this is all about, right? When you're talking about things, not necessarily people will understand the same language that you talk. Not necessarily people understand, because that is when it is important to put it in black and white and show them, okay, if I just give you 20 and 24, something like this, it's easy. You will always refer to 2024, we just passed that year. But I said 2 zeros and 2 fours. There are lots of combinations on deriving this, like how you guys did exactly. Okay, this I want to activate your brains a little bit because I want to really enjoy the sessions and we're halfway through. I'm sure you liked it. So the perspective matters. Great. So let's move on to that quickly to understand. What is that we really want to do? When you wanted to do analytics, okay, what is that you wanted to do? Okay, so you should ask the questions first. You should ask the relevant question. Okay, I want to analyze. Don't start just like, okay, I want to do everything under the sky. I want to do the high funda, the fancy stuff. And all my bosses and my CEOs will like me. No, that's not the case. You should address what is important for the organizations. Under the two areas, one is you probably should know what is the current problem. Or if you do see, okay, my organization is excellently performing well, I don't see any problem. But the next thing is about you need to see what is my opportunity. So you have to do this analysis, asking the questions from the business, either a problem or an opportunity. To do that first, so that you need to really talk to your leaders and understand and start collecting the data and do the analysis. And before even collecting data, what I want you to do is derive analytical questions from what you collect. Okay, let's put it in a simple example, like, okay, your business leader is telling, my problem is people are leaving. I see more number of people has left last month and my production is low, whatever I do, right? That's a problem. My sales are not improving, that's a problem. Okay. So how do you address the problem? You have to convert that into analytical questions first. When you say analytical questions, it's about, okay, how do I convert my problem statement into my analytical one? Okay, if people are leaving, you need to really ask questions about, okay, are these people leaving from a particular department? Are these people leaving from a particular pay scale? Are these people leaving from a particular location? Are these people leaving from? So you have multiple questions to convert that a single question into a problem, into an analytical questions. Okay, if you look at, okay, I'm able to answer some of the analytical questions. You don't have to answer, you don't have to finalize, you don't have to really conclude anything for now, but ask questions. Ask relevant questions that matters the most. And convert an analytical question. Then you figure out what is the analytical technique that you want to use. As I was telling you briefly about the 4 techniques, I'm sure you all will remember it. So pick up one analytical technique. Okay, let me do a diagnostics or let me do something around descriptive. or let me do predictive. I'll take one technique and start involving myself in doing some analysis. Not necessarily everybody will be skilled in doing. That's when you need the consultant, and you need definitely third parties for you to support, or you can build the skills in the team. That takes a little longer time as well. So build that analytical techniques, apply that into the data. And when you're talking about it, the next comes your insight generations. So this is very, very important. You need to really create insights around it. Sorry, when I say insight, is if you look at this, how it travels, right? So from the data to information and insights. This is how the journey is. This is all about your data science talking about. From data to information to insights. So when you want to create insights, you need to apply certain techniques in analytics and then figure out what are the insights I'm able to get. What is that I'm able to learn from this data that becomes an insights. And rightly said, the previous example we spoke about something around this, right, the night shifts, and we spoke about the people learning abilities and learning investments. So these are your insights. If the data is able to tell you that story, you create a story around it. Yeah, I'm sure you must, all of us would have by this time known this concept of storytelling. And now it's very famous right now, it's called data storytelling. So you need to really make sure the data tells the story about it. So that's the insight generation. Then the final thing is very, very important. I think this is where most of the organization is not able to meet the target because of they not using the data into decision making. But data drivens are very, very important. What everything is done and we'll go and present to the management. Sometimes you might also resonate with me saying, okay, I don't think it will work. I've seen it in the past. My decision works well, that's fine. But that's when I keep repeating again, the culture of the organization is very important. And you need to test that with a small exercise. So my request is not to do anything big bang. Okay, make your CEO, your MDs or managing directors to understand, okay, this helped me. Okay, but you need slow, small things and see how tracking really helps first, how creating metrics helps, and how doing analysis helps, and how doing strategic analysis helps. So you need to really convert that and tell the story about it. And I'm sure you will get a buy-in from the leaders. I always remember this, and doing the right things is very important. Okay. When you want to do something, figure out what is that you want to do. Don't pick up everything and then start doing it. There are no right appropriate solution because you will end up having no result. But you need to really spend the right time in doing the right things. And most importantly, after you have done, selected the right thing, you need to do the things right. So these are two different terminologies. You have to identify the right things first in the first place. Then once you identify, you need to do that rightly with an accuracy or with an expected result. That's the important thing, right? I hope you're getting the meaning of these two. Doing the right things and doing the things right, both are different. And last but not least, doing it fast. That also matters a lot because if you go and get a buy-in from your stakeholders or your boss, leader, HR leader stating, okay, I want to do this, and I found this is very interesting. Let's do that. Okay. He said, yes, I'm excited. Let's start doing this. Then you go after 1 year and show it to them. It not work. Right? By the time he must have lost interest, or he might have got a different priority. So doing it fast also very helpful. Hope everybody is in alignment with me. Right? So good. I think we're on the right track, and I hope my face is clear. And if you're able to understand, if I'm talking too fast or too slow, let me know so that I can correct. I hope you can hear my voice also clearly. Okay, so So this is when we're talking about, okay, I am interested, Balaji, I think that, okay, you make lots of sense. And you really throw some lots of insights about it. That's giving me a different perspective of doing analytics in my area, and that particularly HR. How do I go about it? Give me some tips. Okay, give me a guide or step by step. So I'm happy to share you that as well. I'm going to tell you that, okay, define objectives and get buy-in. So when you say measurable goals, and HR people, I'm sure you all will know when I say SMART goals, SMART, right? So similarly, create something around your goals which is measurable. Okay, you need to really end up your, if you developed a product or if you developed an analytical solution, that should be able to create and success measures for you. Okay, that should yield an outcome where it is aligned directly to the business results. And before even getting in to do anything, please talk to your leaders. Please talk to your managing responsible or decision-making people and try to get the support from the top management so that you are getting a buy-in before you even do that. If people who are listening to the session, you are a top management, and please start getting into your people and share this idea. I think we can really do this. Why can't we try this? This kind of moments is what you need to create from here. Once you get the buy-in, choose the tools that gather data. So the couple of slides I have also put together on the data aspects of it. But before getting in there, you should choose the right tools and also the right systems that you can integrate. Okay. When it's the right tools, okay, what is your HR system right now? You might be using SuccessFactors, Workday, PeopleSoft, or even the homegrown or inbuilt tools or systems for your HR, payroll, tracking, everything, right? Just select a tool which is more compatible to your system. Right? Maybe a Power BI can help you, maybe a Tableau if you want to do detailed things. But I think Power BI is mostly widely used in most of the organizations right now as a visualization tool. You can really test the Power BI right now. Okay, and collect the relevant data and gather information. So that's very important. If you don't have the data handy, we cannot do analysis. Data is a baseline for any analytics, right? So if you don't have the data, we cannot do analytics. So you need to make sure that the data is right and you have the right amount of data and you need to really quantify the data. So I'm not saying you should have an excess of data, but you should have not even a mediocre of data. You should have a data which is handful for you to get into a conclusion or make decisions. So your next job is important to choose the tools and gather data. And this is a very interesting, important part of it. Build a skilled team. Build or train a team with the right skills. Okay, your team should be able to. Okay, I know Excel. Okay, I'm not saying you should know only Power BI or Tableau, whatever it is. Right? If your team can do in Excel, you can always do that. And if you can or really wanting to do something in Power BI, we can also do lots of courses available right now. It's easy for people to skill up. And if you really need somebody also to consult and help you, people, we are there. So the same way you should invest in the people to make them to do right things. Right things, and doing the things right and doing it fast. So all this thing put together, that will become a part of your objective in building a skilled team. So skilled team will eventually help you to run on ongoing deliverables of HR analytics into your organization. That will take care of majority of your inward inflows of your analytics requests, and they should be able to meet or the requirements of the management to see, okay, what kind of analysis is possible and what kind of analysis can be readily available. You should start thinking about readily available data points for you. If you have data, see, most of the time I see people, they want to do something, they reach out to people and they'll take 1 week, they'll take 2 weeks. They say, okay, I'm collecting the data. And after they collect the data, they say, I'm doing analysis. That will take another 1 week. And after that, they say, okay, I'm writing insight. That will take another 1 week. Okay. At the end of 1 month, By the time your problem would have got solved. That's a practical scenario, right? Most of us have come across. That's when I say people don't value that analytics because of the delay. Sometimes it happens. So you need to feed them at the right time, the right moment, and people will really implement that solution. They'll gain benefits out of it. And analyze and generate insights. So this also talks up a little bit because I'm happy that I'm talking to the right crowd here, because analyzing insights is it's not just like anybody can do, right? This also needs some functional knowledge around them. Okay, I cannot do an HR analytics if I'm not an HR person, or if I don't know the functions of HR. You can hire people from outside, okay, they can do wonderful fancy stuffs in visualizations and other things, but what if they don't know HR? You cannot get the right results from them. So I always call myself and even my teams, we call ourselves as techno-functional team. That's a combination of technical with functional knowledge. That's very important in many of the areas that we talk about. Okay, this is very interesting. We're talking about analytics integration into strategy. So when you are building a strategy, maybe we are coming into the financial year, when you see that, okay, you can focus something, or you can see some investments into analytics, you can see something that we can build as a strategy for the organization. Okay, let's do something in HR. Let's park some budget there, or hire some people there, or do some skilling itself, do some testing here and there. Let's do that. And that has to be built into HR strategy. That's very important. If you're not building it right now, it means that we'll be lagging behind. If your organization, I see that you're already given, mostly I see people around strategic analytics, and you should be using the right tools to determine the strategy. And you should be really using what kind of tools, what kind of algorithms that you use, what kind of analysis that deeper, and or what is the accuracy of that analytics also matters, right? So for example, when we were doing sentiment analysis, okay, from the voice of customers or voice of employees, and we gathered all the text analytics data, and we were trying to pull information around how many customers were happy, positive, neutral, and not happy through the text. It is not, people are not giving saying they're happy or not happy. They don't say that explicitly, but with their, we use NLP language to figure out, okay, what is these guys are really talking about? Are they happy or not? Like a human touch, okay, how human interprets. How human interprets what you're talking. You say, okay, today I think it's very boring. I'm not feeling coming to office. It means a negative, right? I'm not saying I'm feeling negative today, but the analysis will pick up those directly from there. And you're saying, okay, I'm very energetic today. It means that you are engaged employee. So this kind of interprets is what happening from the algorithm. So and lots of libraries available even in Python. We can do wonderful things in automations and analysis in Python as well. But the tricky part is, what is the accuracy rate of it? Which one is yielding a better accuracy is very important. Great. So next interesting thing, I think before I get in there, and probably wanted to throw these questions to this crowd. Maybe one liner or one word you can explain what is your biggest challenge in right now you face in the organization. I have listed on few challenges, probably you see that, but what is that? You can put your response in the chat. What is the biggest challenge you see? Okay, comes to HR data, HR anything. I'm not saying about particularly adoption, but anything related to HR data. What is the biggest challenge that you see currently? Exactly. So attrition, yeah, attrition is a challenge, real challenge for most of us. Not applying right tools, accuracy of data, exactly. Anything else? Exactly. Not reporting, okay. Reporting formats are okay, not standardized. adapt quickly, and other things. Very good. Cultural impact, excellent. Good, good. I think keep going. Yeah, that's a good thing. I really appreciate your openness and honesty here. And I think it's not all about only you and me. It's about more the organization being fail to do that because of not standardized HR tools and not having the culture of data driven. It happens. Don't feel that you're alone. It's most of the organization, but we are actually improving ourselves. You see that the evolution of HR analytics has taken real good jump in the last few years. And so many things are happening in HR analytics, and so many roles are getting created in HR analytics. You look at LinkedIn, Naukri, you see lots of roles coming. It means that there's a demand for this kind of analysis in the future. So it really helps. Let me jump into those quickly. Okay, data quality, I think somebody has rightly called it out. I'm sorry, I am not able to recollect the names, but somebody rightly called it out, talking about the data quality issues. Quality issues in data is, I always remember the statement somebody was telling me the other day. It's a garbage in, garbage out, right? So when you're able to have the right amount of good quality of data, your output will also be good. When your data is clumsy, when your data is not clean, when it's not accurate, you will not get the consistency. So the quality of data is very important. So make sure that you work on that and see how what's possibly we can eliminate those things that are resistant to change. Sure. I was able to read your minds. I'm able to do a predictive analysis, and what you are about to say, I've already given it in the sheet. In my slides, right? Resistant to change. So resistant to change. Okay, they feel okay, I'm already doing well. What is the need? Why should I do data? Why should I make my decision through data? I'm very good in understanding people. I'm very good in my opinion based. What should you do? But if you do that, you see the difference. That's why I kept repeating this again. Try the small things in your organization. Small steps. Okay, think big, but start small. When you take the small steps, small changes, build something with a smaller thing, say showcase to the management. Okay, I was able to do this because of this data-driven culture. I'm sure you will see wonders in your organization. My wish is for you to do that. A lack of expertise. This is another challenge we normally have right now. Okay, we know we are really eager to do, we're interested in doing, but we don't have people to help us. We don't have the right skill in the team. So feel free to hire somebody, or feel free to get in, improve the learning experience of the people, or get in touch with external consultant who can help you out. So these are challenges where I can see that we can really tackle it with the right amount of the mindset and the right approach. If you're able to do that, I'm sure you will be able to tackle it, but I know it's a little longer time to take, but you have to start now so that you will be able to see the results quick. So the very interesting part, I'm sure I have to touch this topic definitely because of ethical data use. Because data use and talking about the data, ethical use of the data, without which any analytics session doesn't end. Okay, we're talking data privacy. I'm sure in India, we also got lots of privacy, and we're talking about MNC, GDPR, and Europe data, and all those privacy informations are there. When data is collected, stored, all employee personal information has to be dealt with care. It's very, very important when it comes to data privacy and data security. So when you have the wealth of information with you, you need to create a platform or a security models to see who has access to the data, to what level of access they have. Is there any loophole or systems where it can be broken somewhere? Think on those lines and see how data security is important to you. And you need to really build a strong mechanism in creating the security and data accuracy. We spoke about it already multiple times, and I don't want to repeat this. Data accuracy is another thing where see to that, okay, because the inflow has to be fine, right? It all comes from the recruitment, right? When the recruitment, the personal information is not right, then you need to really make some measures to see how do we correct the data. So we have a forum or sessions with the team, education to the members or employees to see, okay, what is the use when they do the accurate information. And data bias. So sometimes we try to be little biased of the data, but we will not be able to make some unfair decisions. We should not be doing because data will give us the right decisions, and we need to use the right amount of data. Don't use the data just for sake of it is actually favoring you for a decision. That becomes your bias of data. Use the data and that will actually giving you right results. Don't show, okay, this is what data is showing, because it means that you excluded some portion of it and you're showing only part of it. That means that is supported decision. That is not the right thing to do. That is unethical practices in terms of data usage. Okay, now we're coming to the fag end. Maybe I'll take another 5 minutes to walk you through the future of analytics. We can talk about, okay, what is that all about? How does the future look like for analytics? That too in particular HR. Okay, I'll broadly cover. So the AI and predictive analytics. That's an interesting topic which is coming up. You see around the globe, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, predictive analytics. Predictive analytics will really help you to really talk about the attrition of the people, top talent attrition. So what is the sales? It's coming down. Okay, who is performing employees and versus their sales? How is the customer success? And all those things comes to the predictive. You can always predict that. And performance trends. You can also see, okay, who is non-performing and what is the potential reason for them non-performing? Do we lose them, or is it a non-regrettable, regrettable attritions? And the AI also predicts you the certain things around the fitment of the roles. If you see the right skill, if you have a skill matrix with you, and if you see, okay, I have the skills and everything with me, okay, you can see me? Okay. So next thing is about a personalized employee experience. When you talk about personalized employee experience, it's all about the learning experiences and the career. It talks about, okay, what is the roles people can take in the organizations? So what is the real time for people to move, explore different areas in the same organization? It's almost like an internal mobility or a talent moves. And also we can talk about employee engagements, employee surveys, and all the stuff we can really talk about here. Of course, these are the areas which is emerging right now in the markets, real-time and integrated analysis. So real time, that's what I keep saying. Real time is something where you should have readily available information. When you want to see some information, you should go and just look at the dashboard and see the information available. And that should be as early as possible information. I don't want you to see information which is 1 year old information or 2 months old information. You should see the relevant information as earlier as possible. Means that maybe a 1 week information or later, the 1 month information or 1 day information. So that becomes your real time. And this also helps you to make faster decisions. And the integrated data is an interesting chapter altogether. With HR systems, why don't we connect to the finance systems and see the correlation and do a multivariant analysis and do something which is more impactful, not restricting to only to HR areas, do something around the broader aspects of analytics. That gives you a flavor of integrated analytics. And the automation of routine tasks. We can explore lots of stuff using WalkMe and all those chatbots and RPA solutions are in the market, which will talk about the manager self-service. When I say MSS and ESS, or manager self-servicing, then employee self-servicing. Okay, and the HR systems. You don't have to really do an ask query systems or something. You can always do with the MSS and ESS platforms. That will release the bandwidth of HR folks. And we can really put in our efforts in strategic solutions or thinking. And focus on well-being and diversity. Now with the hybrid environment, there's lots of focus on well-being, work-life balance. It's another topic which you're talking about. And even if you don't believe, some companies are even planning to do only 4 days working day. Okay, I'm sure most of us will be happy, right? But does not apply to all the manufacturing industries and other stuff, right? So people think about different areas. Maybe they increase 1 hour a day and make it 4 days. So that's how it's emerging, right? We will see lots of wonders or magic to happen in HR field in the upcoming years. A remote and hybrid work is redefine workforce strategy. I'm sure now most of them will have hybrid and somebody will have a 5 days working in office. So this will give us, okay, do we really invest in location strategy? What is the technology? Okay, I want to really have a good collaboration with the team. Let me get the Zoom technology, let me get Microsoft Teams for my teams to collaborate or talk to each other, converse instead of mails. Okay, get some lots of technology and what is the usage of technology. We can do lots of stuff in those areas to see how we are doing it. So thus comes to an end, and I'm very happy that I was able to share my experiences, and I hope the session was informative for you. I really wanting to see that, okay, what is the real key takeaways that you have? And, maybe what is that? Maybe I don't want you to put it on a chat, but think through, maybe take 30 seconds, just digest, observe this, see, okay, what is that running in your mind at this moment? What is that you wanted to really do? What is it you're planning? So you have spent 1.5 hours in this session today, and I'm sure I told you in the beginning, if you really have some takeaways, what is that running in your mind? What is it you wanted to do? Think about it for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, I'll hand over it to Madan to open up for Q&As, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Over to you, Madan.
Thank you very much for your such a wonderful session, sir. I hope from this we have been make a basic understanding that so arts and sides are the lungs and the heart for the HR analytics, and this session makes the some strength to the HR community, since the HRs are the roots and pillars of the organization. So I'm just opening the session for a Q&A. So participants, if you have any other doubt, you can just have the questions in the chat so that we can have the sir, Mr. Balaji Mathur sir, to have some clarification regarding your queries. So I'm just opening the Q&A. So participants, kindly share your queries.
Balaji, I have one question for.
Yes, Murli.
So can you elaborate a way that what is the difference between AI and the HR analytics? How AI can help in HR analytics? This is my question number one.
Okay.
Question number two is the size of industries which have to adapt HR analytics. Is there is any any suggestion, or do you have any idea of the size of industries and the department which have to focus more on HR analytics? These are the three questions I want to ask. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, and thanks for the wonderful questions, Murli. In fact, you made me to think about it. Good, thanks for asking. So when it comes to the AI has multiple areas, right? So there are two aspects of AI. When I say AI, in general terms, is artificial intelligence. Let's say, for example, my recruiter I've applied for a jobs in LinkedIn. Okay, so many things are there. Let's say I don't have to really go and scan through all the resumes, okay, and filter the candidates. That's what's happening currently now. But instead of that, they use an ATS. I'm sure you must have heard about this applicant tracking system. So ATS is an AI-enabled tool. It means that it goes to your resume, it goes and checks the profile, it maps with your skill set, and it filters it automatically. So lots of interventions can be done in AI areas in human resources. These aspects of getting an AI into human resources, AI is basically the cognitive process of how you think is going to be managed by technology, not by human. This is the higher version of the automation that we always talk about. Automation is simplifying, combining, collecting, gathering all this. AI is more okay. How does human think? Replace that with the technology that becomes AI. And analytics, particularly with AI, this is a general term. I gave you an example about human resources, how AI can influence your recruitment process. Okay. AI even can conduct interviews for you. You don't believe, right? I can have one AI now. I can instead of like news readers, now there's no new need for a news readers going forward. The AI will read the news for you. Same way, I don't have anybody manager to come and sit because I have 100 of resumes have come out. So I'll hire an agent AI. The AI will come and neatly dressed up and you talk like a manager and you will address, and the AI will be able to analyze your skill set. They will examine everything, that will filter you. That will throw a message to manager saying this guy is fit or not fit. So AI can also do that. So lots of interventions can be done. But when it comes to analytics part, the machine learning, artificial learning, deep learning, lots of things which can be done. Like I said, the sentiment analysis is one area we can think about it. We can do lots of areas where it will give a statistical way of handling things. That's when analytics comes into play. And coming back to the next, hope I have answered your question fully.
Coming to this, the industrial size, I was asking, like,
Yes.
what is the size of industry? How to adapt?
To be honest,
HR
personally, I
analytics is
feel
very essential for them to adapt. If there is any size, prescribed size is there. Plus, adding to that, is any department, which department have to be more focused on HR analytics, like, to be taken more?
okay. So when it comes to the size, see, there are different types of analytics, right? When it's talking about qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. So what I spoke about it today is more of a quantitative, getting a numerical data and doing. That is where you need really a good amount of data, maybe 1,000 or people or 500 people should be enough for you to do this kind of analysis. When it comes to qualitative, even if you have a 20-member team, we can still do a qualitative, talking to people, understanding, and convert that into analysis, still possible. So it depends on whether what is the data you want. And department, if you look at department, there's not a particular department where it has to do analysis, because we're talking about HR. HR can partner with the business and help them to do business analytics as well. So that's where the role is different. I don't see a particular department. Every department, if you talk about any department, like customer related department can do customer analytics, marketing related department can do market analysis, and finance related can do financial, compensation analysis can do compensation. So any department, analytics is a concept or a tools or techniques. When I do that with people data, HR data, it becomes HR analytics. When I do with the customer data, it becomes customer analytics. So analytics is the same umbrella, but domain changes according to the data that you're using. Hope it answers. You're on mute now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Balaji.
Thanks for asking, Murli. Anybody else has anything?
So coming to the next second question, Mr. Vignesh Anadurai has asked one question. As an MSW HR student and a fresher, which area of data analytics should I focus on as a beginner?
As a beginner, I think you can really start doing something on visualization. Okay, there are 3 areas that you need to really explore. As a student, I would suggest you to do something around visualization and something around SQL and something around Python. If you're able to do 3, then I think you can do a lot more stuff with the combination of these 3 into any organization. Hope that answers.
I hope Mr. Vignesh Anadurai, you might got the right answer. So from participant side, Mr. Maheshwaran M has raised the hand. Mr. Maheshwaran M, you are on unmute. You can ask your queries either in voice or in chat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir. Sir, I would like to know how data privacy acts like GDPR, PIPEDA Act plays a role in analytics, sir. What are the regulations to be followed to do an HR analytics, sir? Is there any particular regulations to be followed?
HR analytics as a data is what very important. Analytics is there's no restriction. You can do anything with the data that you have, but the way that you use the data with the legitimate reason, that's very important. Okay, the legitimate reason for using the data. And if you're using any data, for example, from the personal aspects, you want to really go ahead and use the data. Even in, I don't think in India it matters the most, but if you look US and other data, if you see even gender, if you use the data showing you have 15 people in male and 13 people in female, that is an offense.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so you cannot use those you need to be mindful of what is an organization guidelines talks about it. You can use any data that you want as long as you showcase the data and you show that there's a legitimate reason for doing that analysis. Unless and until it is asked for, don't do that.
Okay,
You
sir.
might get into trouble later on because there are lots of issues. Because every year there's a new laws are coming in, right? So you have to be very mindful, vigilant about it.
Sir,
Of the times.
to be more enhanced in HR analytics, what can be how to learn more of HR analytics, sir? Like practical oriented of using HR analytics. What courses or something like that you can go for?
Lots of courses available. There's courses in Coursera, Udemy, lots of courses. The best thing is, see, some of the courses may not be able to give you the real-time experience. My suggestion is you should always get the real-time experience working with your real-time data.
Yes, sir.
That helps. Real-time data, that helps. Because this is more theoretical, right? This 1.5 hour sessions that I took right now, I'm sure you might have got some fair idea about it, but when you really want to soil your hands, you will get a different perspective.
Yes, sir. Working
I'm
on
happy to have a one-on-one connect also if you guys wish to have. I'm happy to have. Probably we can talk in detail.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maheshwaran.
Thank you. I hope, Mr. Mahishan Yama, you got the right answer. So participants, kindly right now.
Yes, we can hear you, Madan. Please go ahead. Maybe you can
Yes.
roll out the.
So the participants, if you are having any other queries, kindly use your chat.
So, Balaji, you can also post the feedback question also. Madan, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm just posting the feedback.
Question, and if there is any question, any more question have to be accommodated, you can accommodate.
So, Ms. Vanita Ramaswamy asked you one question, sir. Do machine learning data can be used for HR analytics?
ML algorithms and deep learnings everywhere. You see the potential use cases you can always use, right? These are all algorithms. These are all techniques that you use. It's not restricting to anything on analytics. You can always use.
Thank you, sir. I hope no more questions are from the participants side. So participants, if you are having any other queries, kindly use the chat to raise the query. Okay. Okay. I hope there will be no questions from the participant side. So we will be so from here we can close the session. So all the participants kindly share your feedback in the feedback link which we have been shared in the chat box. So this will be makes and support us to improvise in the furthermore sessions. And if you need any other additional sessions also, we can go ahead and we will be provide you the additional sessions based upon the your request. Thank you. So I'm just sharing you the feedback link in the chat. So all the participants kindly start filling the feedback link. So once again, I'm just requesting all the participants to fill up the feedback link so that we can just start sharing the participation e-certificate to your mail ID, whichever you have been registered in the Google Forms.
Madan, Raghupati sir is trying to ask some question, Madan.
Yes, sir. Okay. Sir, Raghupati sir, you are in unmute. You can just unmute yourself and you can raise your query, sir.
Sir, please recommend if anything HR analytical tools.
So there are lots of tools in the market. But if you look at, there's one model, and Visier. Visier is one of the tool where we actually Visier, VISIER. You can go and Google it and find that.
VISIER.
VISIER.
Oh, okay.
Visier is a tool where it is very different, designed mainly for HR analytics space. You can try this out. Those tools are a little expensive, and one model, and the Databricks, lots of tools, they focus mainly on HR analytics. So the data, they support you with the entire model and even the technology aspects of it, just that you need to feed your data to their system. So the system is already with the inbuilt of analytical structures. You can try this out. You can get a good idea about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Maheshwaran M has asked one more question, sir. So what book can be studied for HR analytics?
What books we can study? So I am yet to write one book. I'll let you know the name of the book, Maheshwar. There are lots of books. I particularly, if you look at the lots of authors are talking about it. And I don't see there's particular books I can recommend right now, but there are lots of courses available in AIHR. If you go to an AIHR, SHRM, those people will have lots of materials available on HR analytics. So that will help you. Hope this helps, Maheshwar.
Sir, I have a question. Myself Balu Makendran, and my question is like, while speaking out, you are telling that there are interviews conducted by the AI. So, is there any specific softwares that someone can volunteer themselves to attend the interviews or something like that?
I haven't tried myself, so probably I'll take this as a note, Balu Makendran.
Yes,
I'll let
because
you know
there
if I come
are because we have a personality trait test, and so that we can enroll ourselves and test our personality while we are
Correct.
staying there. So, is
You
there
can also
something like
search in Google. You see, okay, maybe it will give you mock sessions. Okay. I'll see something like a Speechmatics. Maybe you can try that. There's a tool called Speechmatics. So what will happen is you ask question that answers.
Okay.
Okay, like an Alexa. Like in Alexa, you ask questions that handles like with ChatGPT and other AI tools that gives you an answer in document forms, right? But this
I have seen in Naukri also there are some AI based questions that has been coming to us. So, but I don't feel that what we want to try, what we are expecting, like we want to volunteer something.
There are some
like
tools
that.
available in the market where it will mock like your interviewer, and I've come across somewhere. Let me search. If I will find it, I'll let you. Okay, that's a wonderful question. You can always try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Madan Amalnathan sir has asking some question.
Yes,
he is raising.
sir, you can just raise your queries. So you are free to speak it. I have unmuted.
Hello. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, the session was very useful actually. It is eye-opening to us, especially that it has given the knowledge on to go about descriptive and diagnostic, predictive and descriptive and all you have explained. But we want to go much more on that one. It should be clear in a very good way. My question here is that how can we analyze this descriptive and diagnostic and predictive and all in a day-to-day analytics?
That's a wonderful question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So analytics, so there is a couple of things on analytics, but maybe I'll clarify you that first. So when it comes to analytics, there's this thing called standard reporting solutions. So that standard reporting solution is something where you have readily available information with you, and that in the form of a dashboard. That's the first focus area for us to do. You should have a readily available dashboard. Okay, when you come into the day, you see, open up the, how we see the KPIs, right? How we see the productivity, how we see the sales information. Same thing, something like that. You should have readily available HR metrics dashboards that will make sure that you are keeping a track and monitoring the KPIs of HR metrics. That's the first thing to do. Next thing is, if you want to really know, okay, I think something is wrong. I see this data here. It's not showing me the right thing. Okay, it's throwing me some insights. I want to really analyze it. Then it comes to ad hoc analysis. It means that you should carry out a specific or exclusive analysis on that factor. That will take definitely quite a bit of time, maybe a week or two, to get the data first and clean the data and do analysis and give an insights about it. So that's where there are two aspects of it. Day to day, you cannot do analytics. Day to day, you can really monitor and track. Analytics has to be done as a standalone.
Fine, sir. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Madan, there is another Girija is asking some question, and Tejasvi also asking some question.
Yeah, Mr. Gayatri Ahara has asked one question. There are some disadvantages in ATS. There was one scenario where a senior professional, though having all the technical stacks in ATS, had rejected the applicant. How can scrutinize this issue?
I think that's a good question. I think the answer is there in the 4 analysis that we talk about, right? It's perspective analysis. It's a simulation process, right? ATS is not human. Even human make mistakes. ATS also make. That's why we need to learn that method, relearning of ATS. I'm not sure how many of you have observed the chat GPTs. If you're going to ask questions, at the end of the things, when it throws the answers to you, it will ask you how relevant was that. Okay. You say yes or no, so it means that it learns again. So ATS also has to be trained again. Even your machine language and all the Python scripts, everything that you write, it has to be trained again. You need to train that ATS. So not a point to put the blame on ATS, but it's again how ATS is trained. It also has to evolve, right? Certain things where now look at in old days workday systems or HR system, we say maternity leaves. If the man is marked against maternity leaves, it's wrong, right? We cannot say how the man can be marked as maternity leave. Maternity leave is only for female employees, right? So where is that wrong? So it also gives you, okay, you have to correct the system. ATS is a system where human has to make it learn again of the devs.
Madan, Girija has some question, Madan, and Tejasvi Monica also has some question.
Sir, namaste. This is Girija. Can I go with my question?
Girija. Yes, please.
Sir, can you tell me the impact in HR analytics in learning and development? How far it will be helpful for learning the learning and development area, and how can we improve learning and development? Can you throw some light on this?
Definitely, I'm happy to do that. I'm glad that you're asking very relevant questions, and that is also makes me to think, right? So, question.
Of course, sir.
This
Because learning and development is a part of HR, and we have lot of data. Okay, we pull lot of data. Okay,
Right.
but we are not in a position to use analytics in this. So, can you throw some light on that?
Sure, definitely happy to do that. And if you look at learning as a platform, right? As you rightly said, learning is a part of HR, and HR means people, right? People and learning. Okay, let's assume that people is one aspect of it, learning is other aspects of it. Who are the people learning what? Okay, so how this learning is helping them to get the movement in the organization, to get a promotion or to get something around the performance improvements. So how the learning is helping them to do this kind of developmental areas. Let's take that one metric, okay, learning per employee. Okay, So like right now, for example, I'm just throwing one metric, okay, learning hours per employee. You take that metric and do analysis. Okay, this guy has spent 5 hours a month learning, and this guy is spent 50 hours a month learning. Okay, see that, observe them closely, see where these guys are actually in the next 2 years down the line. You'll see definitely a shift in their career, shift in their focus, maybe the way they demonstrate, they might get promoted. So learning also comes into the play in terms of doing analysis. So you tend to see, okay, these are the learnings are important. I'm sure we always follow the leadership roles. They always want you to learn certain things. Without learning, you cannot get a leadership role. Do the reverse calculation and see, okay, let me take the leadership role first and do the learning. It won't work. So this should happen first, this will happen later. And even like more than analytics, also learning has so many things on AI. Right now, look at, okay, I can create personalized learning like Netflix. Netflix, how it gives you personalized movies that you can watch, that will suggest you movies, right? Same way, your learning should suggest you learning. You can say, okay, these are learning, you should suggest them. I think these are learning help to your people to grow in the organization. Why don't you learn? This learning help people gain multiple new skills. Why don't you learn? So throw information. There are two aspects. One is push and pull. So when you push that information, you collect the information. When you push that information, it means that you are throwing information to the people saying, okay, you have to do that. Even for example, you can do analysis saying, okay, the guys have not learned for more than, not even single course they have enrolled for more than 1 month. Then your automatic mails trigger should go to them saying, okay, you have not touched the learning system for 1 month. What are you doing? So push information. So that push information, you need to data points. That data points can be taken from learning system integrated with people data. All that helps, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Girija, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope you got the right answer. Next question from Ms. Tejasri Mokshani. She has asked one question. Any HR analytics tool for payroll management? If not, then any way out in similar ways? I hope she is asking any HR analytics tool for payroll management.
So payroll management is a process, right? So I was talking about the Visier and other tools, right? That is an HR analytics. So that talks about all the data. So you can get one tool and you can integrate the payroll data into that analytics tool. So that way, when we also spoke about integrated analysis, right? So I will not get confused with analytics tool and the process tool. Management tool is different from analytics. Analytics tool is standalone. You give the data, feed the data analytics tool that will run the analysis. So irrespective of any data. All that helps.
Thank you, sir. I hope Ms. Tejasri ma'am, you got the right answer from Mr. Balaji Madhuri sir. So participants, kindly fill out your feedback form. I hope I can see only 27 participants has filled out the feedback form. So I request remaining people to fill out the feedback form so that it will support us and help us to improve the further future more sessions. And if you are having any other queries, please raise in the chat or in the voice mode.
Okay, we are top of the hour, but then we should officially close it.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to thank especially a special thanks to Mr. Balaji Madhuri sir on behalf of our First Job team to have such a wonderful session. So we got a basic idea about what is the HR analytics and how we can improvise in our day-to-day process. And sure, this will enhance the HR community. And hope we can have the furthermost sessions also if needed in a depth way in the future most. So I once again I thank Mr. Murali Krishna sir, my CEO sir, to make such a wonderful opportunity to make this type of awareness session to strengthen the HR community. And I want to thank my colleagues and other team members from the First Job team. And once again, I want to thank all the participants who have participated in this event. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Madan.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Balaji. Thank you very
Thank you,
much
Balaji.
for your wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Murli sir. Thank you, first job. Thank you, the speaker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.